you ever wanted to set the world on fire and watch as it burns? Or have you wanted to set all of your enemies on fire and laugh maniacally as they melt? Then these builds are for you. Welcome to my Flamethrower and Flame Dancer how-to build guide. Sit back, unbuckle your seatbelts, and get ready to be the human torch of your dreams. I love fire magic, so today I'm going to go over the Fire Mage build, which was crafted by Afterlyte on the LunaPixels Discord, as well as the Flame Dancer build by AlmdudlerKing on LunaPixels. Just to clarify, these builds are for version 3.1.6 and before, so please don't comment, "Why isn't it working?" when you're on a later version, as builds do change over time. First off, every mage needs a spellbook. The one I recommend using for a fire mage, or the flamethrower, is the Tome of Fire. The Tome of Fire focuses on area of effect damage and damage over time effects, which are key strengths for fire mages. The spells in the Tome of Fire have high burn and explosion damage for efficient mob clearing. It's crafted by placing a book in your spellbinding table with some lapis, and then choosing the Tome of Fire and learning all the spells. Spellbinding table needs 18 vanilla bookshelves around it. Armor is the next and one of the most important requirements for this build. You'll need to craft the full fire robe set, which requires some wool and blaze powder, as you can see on screen. And then you're going to want to reforge it for armor, armor toughness, and speed. Here I have the perfect reforge for each piece of armor. I would recommend you make it netherite tier as soon as possible. You can see the differences between the two right here. Each armor you craft in game needs a trim. Trim is essentially putting that piece of armor in the smithing table with an ingredient and a template. This one is trimmed with diamonds. I will trim one here, like so. You can use any templates you find, although they each have a different look, as you can see, just like vanilla. For higher survivability, especially useful in tougher encounters, you'll want to use diamonds. However, if you prefer mobility and kiting over raw defense, you can use redstone. This build requires you to be fast and agile, as you can't take a lot of hits, but the raw damage output is some of the best in the game. This is optional, and I personally don't use it, but you can add corruption to your armor. This will enhance cataclysm damage, which is your ultimate. All you need to do is infuse one piece of your armor with corruption resistance and 3 pieces with 1 corruption tier. This will maximize your corruption level at 90, unlocking peak corruption scaling for fire damage. To infuse armor with corruption, all you have to do is place a corruption infusion template, your armor, and an aberration limb in a smithing table. As you can see here, it adds plus 10 corruption. To make a corruption resistance piece, all you have to do is use an Eder infusion smithing template and an Eder ingot, and then you get corruption resistance, like so. Next, we are on to enchants for your armor. As soon as you can get it, you'll need Sunfire 5, Spell Volatility 2, Amplify Spell 3, Protection 5, Magic Protection 5, and Mending if you don't have any hardening catalysts. If you're using the netherite version of the fire robes, you can have 8 enchants on your armor. So you can add multi-roll on your hat, acrobat on your chest, and long-footed on the boots. The other enchant slots are up to you. Another incredibly important piece of being a mage is your weapon. The artifact weapon for mage builds is Ekavar, the Great Cinderstone Staff. For a fire mage, the final talent node is Fire Evolution. When you choose Fire Evolution, your Cinderstone Staff goes from Ekavar to Adasil. You must re-roll the wizard staff that is crafted into Ekavar staff for spell critical chance and spell critical damage. It's much cheaper to re-roll it before you craft it into the artifact weapon because it only costs sticks as the staff, but when it becomes Ekavar, it costs encased remnants, which are much harder to get. After you craft your artifact, make sure you place a hardening catalyst on it so it doesn't take durability damage. To craft Ekavar, all you need to do is take a molten core, your wizard staff, and the essence of glory, and there you go. For any weapon, just like your armor, enchants are also incredibly important. The main enchants you're looking for are Spell Power 5, Spell Haste 5, and Spell Infinity. You can also add looting. I wouldn't add Fire Aspect, it's just an option. Last but not least, we have to discuss trinkets. I will always recommend the Charm of Regeneration 2. This will allow you to survive in those really long, prolonged fights. You will need to gather 2 Sunflare Signets. These are the rings for your class. It will increase burn and fire-based damage. The Pendant of Sunfire is the necklace for your build. It amplifies your AoE fire spells. You can also use 2 Turtle Bracers. These are craftable and great for general defense and durability. Just make sure you switch to Amethyst Bracers when you're facing magic enemies or bosses. Turtle Bracers are crafted with 2 Scoot and an iron ingot, and Amethyst Bracers are crafted with 2 amethysts and an iron ingot. You can also wear an Undying Soul on your back. It requires 5 gold ingots, a ghast tear, and a Totem of Undying, and it makes 30% damage to health recovered as health over the next 4 seconds, adding to your survivability. I will also recommend the socks from the Things mod, preferably the Usain Bolt variety for additional movement speed to kite enemies. Socks are crafted pretty easily. They require 2 gleaming powder, 4 wool, and to upgrade them, all you need to do is add the socks to your crafting table with a potion of speed 2 and a gleaming powder, and if you do this twice, they become Usain Bolt socks. Extra speedy. Additional movement speed is key in this build. Here I'm going to explain the talent tree, telling you which nodes to choose as you go. So for Fire Mage, you're going to want to start with Pyrotechnic Knowledge, and then you're going to go up and choose all of the fire nodes, which look like little orange tornadoes, all the way up until you reach Empower and Attunement, and then you're going to go and choose Critical Thinking and go down and get the last of the fire nodes if you can. But I would recommend, instead of going down first, to go up and choose Fire Archmage and Cataclysm, which will give you your active ultimate ability. This is the one that is increased with Corruption, so it's best to get it as soon as you possibly can because it will do it's one of the most powerful damage abilities that you can add to your build early on. As soon as you can get it, I would. Granted, this will probably be at like level 40 or 50 that you'll get this because you only get 1 ability point every 2 levels that you get. So I'm not even fully maxed yet. For your staff, you're going to start by choosing plus 2% spell haste, and then you're going to go up and choose plus 2% spell critical chance, and then the next plus 2% spell critical chance, and then you're going to choose plus 2% spell critical damage, plus 2% spell critical chance, plus 2% spell haste, and finally, your fire infusion node. This will change your staff from Ekavar into Adicel, like so. And finally, for playstyle tips, make sure you focus on your damage over time abilities and area of effect spells. Use your spells that ignite enemies and spread fire. Kite and burn. Movement is incredibly important, and avoiding getting hit too many times while battling bosses is key to surviving. With your redstone trim, Usain Bolt socks, or speed trinkets, as well as flight, you can maintain distance while letting your burns and AoE handle enemies. You can also use Wall of Flames to do circles around the enemy and roll around to keep them in the wall for as long as humanly possible. Cataclysm. In high-pressure scenarios, Cataclysm will act as your ultimate nuke, scaling with your corruption-infused armor, but it freezes you in place and will make it so that you cannot move, so be careful using it. This Fire Mage build works well for mid to late game, but I have another option for a combination Fire Rogue hybrid that I loved in the beginning, but I found was lacking in DPS for the final few bosses. It's called Flame Dancer. Flame Dancer requires the exact same armor and trinkets as the Fire Mage, but alternatively, you can also use silver trim instead of redstone or diamond. This build, unlike the Fire Mage build, uses the Fire Techniques book. This book is crafted with a Rogue Handbook, a Tome of Fire, and a Fire Rune. All of the armor is exactly the same as the Fire Mage build, focusing on armor, armor toughness, and speed for the reforging. So the enchants are the same, although you can use extra protection enchants as you will be up close and personal with all of your enemies. The main weapons you use are 2 flaming falchions. I rerolled them for crit chance, luck, as well as physical damage. Alternatively, you can switch with Hearthflame, Tempest, Emberlash, Rage Blades, or Fire Claymores. However, I fully recommend using these. To craft them, all you need is a Fire Spellblade, a Runeblaze Ingot, and a Fire Rune. And to craft the Fire Spellblade, all you need is a Blaze Rod, a Glowstone block, 2 Nether bricks, and an Iron Sword. The enchants you want to put on them are Looting, Scavenger, Sharpness, Spell Haste, Spell Infinity, and Spell Power. You definitely need Spell Infinity, as otherwise it will cost runes for you to use your abilities. This makes it free. If you decide to use this build all the way to the end, you'll be choosing Azahar, Scythe of the Damned. Azahar will get rid of the HP issues you will face against the final bosses. Alternatively, you can switch to full Fire Mage class using an Ancient Knowledge Scroll, following the guide I listed above. To craft Azahar, all you need is a Soul Render, a Demonic Essence, and a Molten Core. To choose the skills for this build, you're going to want to do something similar to the Fire Mage build, but it's slightly different because you're going to use physical damage as well. So you're going to start with Pyrotechnic Knowledge, same as before, and go up and choose the fire nodes. Then you're going to go down and choose Maximum Health, Armor Efficiency, Stamina, Physical Damage, Lethality, Haste, Lethality, Physical Damage, and Haste. And then you're going to go back up, choose Firepower, all the way up, choose Empower, Critical Thinking, and Cataclysm. And that's your skill tree for your build. For your artifact, you're going to want to choose plus 2% damage, plus 3% max health, Void's Hunger, plus 3% max health, all the way to the end. The trinkets and jewelry are exactly the same as the Fire Mage build. You wear the turtle bracers against foes with physical damage and amethyst bracers against foes with more magic damage. You can wear a power glove for more physical damage to increase your DPS. The Ring of Odin will give you extra HP, and you will become immune to suffocation, drowning, fire, lava, starvation, and fall damage. You can also wear the Crystal Heart in your belt slot when you aren't using a Chorus Totem. I would recommend food that gives you nourishment, as this build depends on saturation, which is useful in combination with a backpack and the feeding upgrade. When fighting a boss, I set my backpack feeding upgrade to eat when I'm hungry no matter what, so it will always eat food as long as you're damaged. For this build, make sure that you're very careful. You're going to be up close and personal with all of the bosses and enemies that you're fighting, so watch your health bar. Make sure that you re-roll your armor for armor, toughness, and speed, as being fast and a little bit tanky is best for this build. And that's everything you need to know to master the ways of the Human Torch or Flamethrower. With these spells, strategies, and a little practice, you'll be setting your enemies ablaze in no time. If you found this guide helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more magic-fueled content. If you have any favorite Fire Mage builds or tricks, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Until next time.